Before we begin tonight's journey, settle into a comfortable position. Let your shoulders relax and allow the noise of the modern world to slowly drift away. There's nothing you need to solve tonight. No puzzles waiting for your attention, no urgent messages. Only a quiet walk into one of history's greatest civilizations, a civilization that still guards countless secrets beneath its ancient stones. Our destination is ancient Rome, not the Rome filled with cheering crowds or triumphant generals, not the Rome of dramatic battles or political speeches. Instead, we are visiting a quieter Rome, a city after sunset, a place where narrow streets grow silent beneath the glow of oil lamps, where marble temples cast long shadows across empty forums, and where unanswered questions seem to linger in every corner. History often gives us confidence. It tells us the names of emperors, the dates of famous wars, the victories that shaped civilizations. But every historian eventually reaches the same quiet realization. Some questions have never been answered, and perhaps they never will. That is what makes ancient Rome so endlessly fascinating. Even after more than 2,000 years of excavation, research, and discovery, archaeologists continue to uncover objects whose purpose remains uncertain, letters whose endings are missing, buildings whose true function is debated, disappearances with no clear explanation, treasures that have never been found. Tonight, we are not searching for frightening stories. We are searching for forgotten mysteries, the kind that encourage quiet curiosity rather than fear, the kind that invite us to wonder instead of worrying. Imagine that it is a cool evening sometime during the 2nd century of the Roman Empire. The sun has already disappeared beyond the western hills. A soft golden glow still lingers above the rooftops, while the first stars begin appearing one by one. The streets are gradually becoming quieter. Market stalls are closing for the evening. Merchants carefully count their coins before covering their goods with heavy cloth. The smell of freshly baked bread slowly fades as ovens cool for the night. Nearby, a fountain continues its gentle rhythm, water flowing just as it has throughout the day. Its sound echoes softly through the nearly empty streets. A few citizens continue walking home beneath flickering oil lamps, their sandals tapped gently against smooth stone roads polished by countless generations. Some carry baskets filled with vegetables. Others return from public baths, wrapped in warm cloaks against the cooling evening air. Above them rise magnificent buildings, temples built from brilliant white marble, government offices filled with official records, elegant homes owned by wealthy senators, apartment buildings where ordinary Roman families prepare their evening meals. Everything appears peaceful, yet beneath this orderly city lies another world, a hidden Rome. Thousands of passages stretch beneath the streets, water channels, storage chambers, burial tunnels, forgotten foundations left behind by earlier generations. Some are carefully mapped, others remain only partially explored, and some may still be waiting to reveal their secrets. For centuries, workers repairing roads occasionally uncovered mysterious underground rooms that no one expected to find. Ancient walls appeared beneath newer buildings. Hidden staircases descended into darkness. Stone doors opened into empty chambers whose original purpose had long been forgotten. Imagine discovering such a place by accident. One ordinary afternoon, while replacing broken paving stones, your shovel strikes solid marble. Curious workers begin digging. Slowly, another level of the city emerges beneath their feet. A doorway, a corridor, perhaps even an entire forgotten building. How many times has Rome quietly hidden its own history beneath itself? No one knows for certain. This is one of the city's greatest mysteries. Rome was never built only once. Each generation constructed new buildings upon the remains of older ones. When fires destroyed neighborhoods, rebuilding often happened directly above the ruins. When floods covered streets with mud and debris, new streets gradually formed at higher levels. Century after century, the city slowly rose. Today's Rome stands upon layers of earlier Rome. like pages inside an enormous history book. Most remain unread. Archaeologists often describe Rome as a city where every excavation becomes an unexpected conversation with the past. A single broken pottery fragment can reveal forgotten trade routes. An old coin may change what historians believe about an emperor's reign. Even an ordinary household object, a spoon, a lamp, or a child's toy, can quietly transform our understanding of daily life. Yet for every mystery solved, several more seem to appear. Who carved certain symbols into hidden walls? Why were valuable objects deliberately buried beneath some homes? Who sealed certain underground rooms so carefully that no one entered them again for centuries? History offers possibilities, rarely certainty. Perhaps that uncertainty is what makes these stories so comforting. Unlike modern life, where we often expect immediate answers, ancient Rome gently reminds us that not every mystery must be solved. Sometimes it is enough simply to wonder. As darkness settles completely across the city, the final merchants close their wooden shutters. The distant sound of conversation fades. Oil lamps flicker gently inside quiet homes. Temple courtyards stand empty beneath the stars. Only the occasional footsteps of the night watch echo across the ancient stones. Somewhere beneath those streets, hidden beneath layers of earth and time, forgotten rooms remain exactly where their builders left them nearly 2,000 years ago. Silent, undisturbed, patiently waiting. And perhaps, even now, they still hold stories that no living person has ever heard. So allow your breathing to slow with the quiet rhythm of this ancient city. Imagine yourself walking peacefully through moonlit Roman streets, where every shadow hides another unanswered question, and every stone carries the memory of countless generations. Our journey has only just begun. In the next chapter, we will descend beneath the surface itself, exploring the mysterious tunnels, hidden passages, and underground chambers of ancient Rome, places that historians continue to study, yet still cannot fully explain. Our quiet evening in ancient Rome continues. The streets above have almost completely emptied now. The sounds of merchants and travelers have faded into the distance, leaving only the gentle splash of public fountains and the occasional footsteps of a lone night watchman. Above us, the city appears calm. Below us, however, another Rome patiently waits. If you were to stand in the center of the ancient city and slowly peel away each layer of stone, brick, and earth, you would discover that Rome was never just one city. It was many cities, built one upon another. Each generation inherited the remains of those who came before. Instead of clearing everything away, the Romans often built directly on top of older structures. As centuries passed, entire neighborhoods disappeared beneath newer streets. Doorways became buried. Courtyards vanished. Temples that once stood proudly beneath the sun slowly slipped beneath layers of time. Today, archaeologists still uncover these forgotten places. Sometimes the discovery begins with something remarkably ordinary. A cracked wall during a building renovation, a broken water pipe, a small excavation before constructing a modern road. Workers begin digging only a short distance before striking ancient stone. Then another wall appears, then a staircase, then an entire room that no living person has entered for nearly 2,000 years. Imagine that moment. A lantern shines into complete darkness. Dust, untouched for centuries, gently rises into the air. The silence inside the chamber feels almost alive, not frightening, simply ancient. Everything waits exactly where it was left. A clay oil lamp rests upon a shelf. Pieces of painted plaster still cling to the walls. Broken pottery lies scattered across the floor. These ordinary objects become extraordinary because of the questions they leave behind. Who lived here? Why did they leave? Did they know their home would disappear beneath another city? Or did time quietly bury it without anyone realizing? History cannot always answer, One of the most fascinating underground worlds beneath Rome is a network of long passageways carved through soft volcanic rock. Some served practical purposes, others became places of burial. Many connected neighborhoods in ways that modern visitors rarely imagine. Walking through these tunnels today, historians often notice something remarkable. The temperature hardly changes. Outside, the summer sun may blaze overhead. Inside, cool air remains perfectly still. The silence is so complete that even a whispered conversation seems unusually loud. The walls themselves seem to absorb every sound. Occasionally, mysterious symbols appear carved into the stone. Simple marks, letters, small drawings. Some clearly identify families or religious beliefs. Others remain impossible to interpret with confidence. Were they directions, private messages, workman's marks, or something entirely different? The truth has been lost. Archaeologists can only compare similar symbols from other sites and carefully build theories. Yet theories are not the same as certainty. That uncertainty quietly remains. Another mystery lies within Rome's ancient water system. The Romans became famous for constructing magnificent aqueducts that carried fresh water across incredible distances. Their engineering continues to impress experts today, but beneath the streets, hidden channels spread like the roots of an enormous tree. Some passages remain accessible. Others have collapsed. A few continue to puzzle engineers because they appear far more complex than expected. Certain tunnels seem to lead nowhere. Others suddenly end behind carefully built stone walls. Were they abandoned projects, emergency repairs, secret maintenance routes? No written record survives to explain every decision. It is easy to imagine generations of workers descending into these underground passages, carrying only simple oil lamps, their shadows dancing across damp stone walls, their footsteps echoing softly through narrow corridors. Above them, life continued normally. Children played in busy squares, merchants argued over prices, senators debated important laws. Few people probably thought about the hidden world beneath their feet. Yet, without those underground systems, Rome itself could never have grown into one of history's greatest cities. Even today, every new archaeological discovery seems to create another mystery. A sealed doorway, an unexpected chamber, a forgotten staircase disappearing deeper underground. Each discovery invites another question. Who built this? When? And why? Some rooms contain beautiful painted walls, but almost no furniture. Others contain everyday objects without any clear sign of the people who use them. Coins appear where no marketplace existed. Religious objects appear inside ordinary homes. Luxury items sometimes appear in surprisingly modest neighborhoods. History often refuses to fit neatly into simple explanations. Perhaps that is why studying ancient Rome feels less like solving a puzzle and more like listening to thousands of quiet voices speaking across time. Each voice tells only part of the story. Together, they create something wonderfully mysterious. As we continue our gentle walk, imagine holding a small bronze oil lamp. Its warm flame flickers softly as you descend another ancient staircase. The air grows cooler. The sounds of the city slowly disappear. Only silence remains. Ahead, another stone corridor stretches into darkness. Perhaps no one has walked here for centuries. Perhaps historians will one day uncover another forgotten chamber hidden behind these ancient walls. Or perhaps some parts of Rome will always remain undiscovered, resting peacefully beneath the modern city. And maybe that's perfectly fitting. After all, every great civilization deserves to keep a few secrets. Take another slow breath. Allow the quiet stillness of underground Rome to settle gently around you. The cool stone walls, the soft glow of your lantern, the comforting silence that has lasted for nearly 2,000 years. In our next chapter, we will leave these hidden tunnels behind and follow one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, the strange disappearance of an entire Roman legion, a story that continues to inspire historians, archaeologists, and curious minds. The lantern in your hand burns quietly as we slowly leave the cool underground passages behind. One step at a time, we climb the ancient stone staircase until the fresh night air of Rome greets us once again. Above, the stars seem brighter than before. The city is almost asleep. Temple columns cast long shadows across empty streets, while a gentle breeze carries the faint scent of olive trees and distant fireplaces. Tonight, however, our journey takes us far beyond the city walls. Far from the marble temples, far from the crowded markets, far from the grand palaces of emperors. We travel northward toward one of the greatest unsolved mysteries connected to the Roman Empire, the mystery of a missing legion. Throughout its long history, Rome built one of the most disciplined armies the ancient world had ever known. A Roman legion was far more than a collection of soldiers. It was a carefully organized community. Thousands of men marched together. They built roads, constructed bridges, raised enormous camps in only a single evening, crossed rivers that seemed impossible to cross. Wherever a legion traveled, it carried with it the remarkable order that made Rome so powerful. Each soldier had a place. Each officer understood his responsibilities. Every movement followed careful planning. Because of this, Roman legions usually left clear traces behind them: coins, weapons, stone inscriptions, forts, roads. Even centuries later, archaeologists can often follow their footsteps across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Yet one story remains especially mysterious. Some historians have long wondered about the fate of Legio IX Hispana, known in English as the Ninth Legion. For many years, it appeared in Roman records with remarkable consistency. The legion fought difficult campaigns, helped secure distant frontiers, served faithfully under several emperors. Then, the historical record grows strangely quiet. Its name slowly disappears. No dramatic final battle is clearly described. No official announcement explains its fate. No surviving Roman historian gives us a simple answer. Instead, silence begins to replace certainty. For generations, this silence inspired endless curiosity. Did the legion suffer a devastating defeat somewhere on Rome's northern frontier? Was it quietly transferred to another province whose records have since vanished? Did it gradually merge into another military unit? Or was its story simply lost beneath the passage of time? Modern historians remain cautious. Some archaeological discoveries suggest the legion may have continued serving elsewhere after many people once believed it had disappeared. Other evidence leaves room for continued debate. The mystery is not completely solved, and perhaps that is exactly why it continues to fascinate us. Imagine for a moment standing beside a Roman road stretching endlessly toward the horizon. The morning mist still covers the surrounding countryside. Then, slowly, you hear it. Not voices, not horses, but thousands of perfectly synchronized footsteps. A Roman legion approaches. Standards flutter gently in the morning breeze. Bronze armor catches the first light of sunrise. Officers quietly exchange commands, while engineers pull wagons filled with tools, tents, and supplies. Everything moves with astonishing precision. The soldiers themselves come from many different parts of the empire. Some were born in Italy, others in Spain, Gaul, the Balkans, North Africa. Yet together they formed a single disciplined force serving under the eagle of Rome. When such a legion arrived at a new location, construction began almost immediately. Defensive walls, wooden towers, orderly streets, storehouses, workshops. Within hours, an empty field could become a carefully planned military camp. Even temporary camps often followed nearly identical layouts. That remarkable consistency makes the disappearance of any legion feel even more unusual. Historians naturally ask questions. Where are their final camps? Where are the official records? Where are the inscriptions celebrating their victories? Sometimes answers appear.
sometimes they do not. Ancient history often resembles a mosaic with many missing pieces. Enough remains to reveal the larger picture, yet countless small details have disappeared forever. Weather, war, fire, floods, simple human forgetfulness, all quietly erase history over the centuries. Archaeologists know this better than anyone. A single newly discovered inscription can completely change a theory accepted for generations. An overlooked coin found beneath an old fortress might suddenly place an entire military unit somewhere historians never expected. That is why careful researchers rarely claim absolute certainty. Instead, they patiently gather evidence, compare discoveries, ask new questions, then wait for the Earth itself to reveal another clue. Perhaps, somewhere beneath a peaceful English field, or beneath a quiet European village, another forgotten Roman camp still sleeps beneath the soil. Perhaps its stones have waited nearly 2,000 years for someone to uncover them. Perhaps one small inscription still carries the missing piece of a story that historians have searched across generations. Or perhaps the final answer has already disappeared forever. There is something strangely comforting about that possibility. Not every mystery exists to be solved. Some remain as quiet reminders that history is larger than our understanding. As the stars continue shining above the ancient road, the marching legion gradually disappears into the darkness. The sound of thousands of footsteps grows softer and softer, until only silence remains. Take another slow breath. Imagine the cool night air surrounding the empty road where countless Roman soldiers once marched toward destinations now forgotten by time. Their voices have faded, their camps have crumbled, yet their mystery continues to walk with us across the centuries. In our next chapter, we will return to the heart of ancient Rome itself to investigate another enduring puzzle: the strange and often mysterious deaths of Roman emperors, where history, rumor, and political intrigue are not always easy to separate.
The sound of marching soldiers has now disappeared into the distance. The ancient road lies empty once again, illuminated only by gentle moonlight and a sky filled with quiet stars. A cool breeze moves through the tall grass beside the road, carrying with it the peaceful scent of pine trees and distant fields. Slowly, we make our way back toward Rome. As the first light of dawn begins to brighten the eastern horizon, the city awakens little by little. Smoke rises from kitchen fires. The first bakers open their ovens. Fresh bread fills the morning air with its comforting aroma. Merchants begin arranging their goods beneath colorful awnings. Children hurry through narrow streets carrying small baskets for their families. Rome once again becomes a city alive with movement. Yet beneath this ordinary morning lies another mystery, one not hidden underground, not buried beneath ancient ruins, but concealed within the magnificent marble walls of the imperial palace itself. Throughout the history of the Roman Empire, dozens of emperors ruled over millions of people. Some governed wisely, others ruled only briefly before history quietly turned the page. A few died peacefully after long lives, but others met endings so mysterious that historians still debate what truly happened. Ancient writers often recorded dramatic stories: poison hidden in wine, secret conspiracies whispered in palace corridors, trusted friends becoming unexpected enemies. Yet reading these accounts requires great care. Many Roman historians wrote decades after the events they described. Some admired certain emperors, others strongly disliked them. Their personal opinions sometimes shaped the stories they chose to tell. Separating historical facts from political rumor remains one of Rome's greatest challenges. Imagine entering the imperial palace just before sunrise. Long marble hallways remain silent.
Oil lamps flicker gently against polished stone walls. Servants quietly begin preparing for another day. Some carry fresh water. Others arrange documents upon elegant wooden tables. Everything appears calm. Everything appears orderly. Yet behind these peaceful corridors, decisions affecting an empire stretching across 3 continents are made every single day. Power brings opportunity, but it also brings uncertainty. Roman emperors rarely enjoyed complete peace of mind. Every important decision pleased some people, while disappointing others. Successful military campaigns earned admiration. Unsuccessful ones invited criticism. Economic reforms benefited certain citizens while creating difficulties for others. No ruler could satisfy everyone. This reality often created an atmosphere where trust became extremely valuable, and sometimes remarkably fragile. One emperor might rely upon lifelong advisors. Another preferred family members. Others placed enormous confidence in military commanders. But history repeatedly reminds us that those closest to power often understood its dangers better than anyone else. Among the most famous mysterious deaths is that of Emperor Claudius. Some ancient writers claimed he died after eating poisoned mushrooms. Others suggested illness. Still others believed political rivals had exaggerated the story to create a more dramatic ending. Modern historians approach these accounts cautiously. Medical knowledge during the 1st century differed greatly from our own. Descriptions of symptoms remain incomplete. No modern investigation is possible. The true cause remains uncertain. Another fascinating example concerns Emperor Nero. His final days have inspired countless books, paintings, and films. Ancient sources describe confusion, fear, and rapidly changing events. Yet, even today, historians continue debating which details are reliable and which may have grown more dramatic through repeated retelling. History sometimes resembles a long conversation rather than a finished book. Each generation examines old evidence with fresh eyes. New archaeological discoveries occasionally confirm ancient writers. At other times, they quietly challenge stories accepted for centuries. Coins bearing an emperor's portrait, official inscriptions carved into stone, private letters written by ordinary citizens. Each surviving object offers another small piece of a puzzle that may never be entirely complete. Political life inside the imperial palace often depended upon information. Messages arrived from distant provinces every day. Military commanders reported victories and setbacks. Governors requested guidance. Merchants described trade conditions. Couriers traveled enormous distances carrying sealed letters that might influence the future of the empire. Imagine the responsibility resting upon those who delivered such messages. A single document could change laws, move armies, or reshape alliances between powerful families. Within such an environment, rumors naturally spread quickly. Whispers passed through palace corridors. Servants overheard fragments of important conversations. Visitors noticed unusual activity. Before long, speculation often traveled faster than verified facts. Even today, historians sometimes encounter 2 ancient writers describing the same event in completely different ways. Which account deserves greater trust? Perhaps neither tells the entire story. Perhaps each preserves only one part of a much larger truth. This uncertainty makes Roman history endlessly fascinating. Rather than offering simple answers, it invites patient curiosity. As the morning sun climbs higher above Rome, golden light reflects brilliantly from marble temples and government buildings. Citizens fill the streets once more. Life continues exactly as it always has. Most ordinary Romans know little about the private conversations taking place inside the imperial palace. They simply prepare meals, open workshops, teach children, visit markets, meet friends. History often remembers emperors, yet ordinary people quietly continued living their lives regardless of who occupied the throne. Perhaps that too is one of Rome's greatest lessons. Empires rise, rulers change, mysteries remain, but everyday life continues. Now, as our peaceful walk through the palace gardens comes to an end, pause for one final moment beside a quiet fountain. The water flows gently into a marble basin, just as it has for centuries. Its soft sound reminds us that time moves steadily forward, carrying away answers while leaving beautiful questions behind. Take another slow breath. Allow the quiet morning of ancient Rome to settle gently around you. In our next chapter, we will follow another enduring mystery, one involving legendary treasures, priceless gold, sacred objects, and fortunes that vanished into history, leaving behind clues that continue to inspire treasure hunters and historians alike.
The gentle sound of the palace fountain slowly fades behind us. Morning has fully arrived in ancient Rome, and golden sunlight now rests upon marble columns, red-tiled rooftops, and broad stone streets that have welcomed generations of travelers. Shopkeepers greet familiar customers, craftsmen unlock heavy wooden doors, and the city begins another ordinary day. Yet today, our footsteps lead us somewhere quieter, away from the busy markets, away from the Senate, away from the grand imperial palace. We are following whispers of something people have searched for across nearly 2,000 years: lost treasure. Throughout history, stories of hidden Roman gold have captured countless imaginations. Some tales speak of enormous fortunes buried during times of war. Others describe sacred objects carried away during invasions, never to be seen again. A few legends even claim that entire rooms filled with coins, jewelry, and priceless works of art still remain hidden beneath forgotten hills or sealed inside ancient ruins. Like many historical mysteries, the truth is both simpler and far more fascinating than the legends. The Roman Empire became wealthy through trade, taxes, mining, agriculture, and conquest. Every day, ships arrived from distant lands carrying silk from Asia, spices from Arabia, glass from Egypt, olive oil from Spain, and countless other valuable goods. Gold and silver flowed through the empire in astonishing quantities. Merchants counted coins by the hundreds. Banks safeguarded fortunes. Temples stored precious offerings given by grateful worshippers. For such a wealthy civilization, it is hardly surprising that many treasures disappeared. Imagine yourself walking through a peaceful Roman villa in the countryside. The home belongs to a prosperous family. Colorful mosaics decorate the floors. Beautiful gardens surround a small fountain where birds gather to drink. Inside, wooden chests carefully protect family valuables: silver cups, gold rings, necklaces, important documents written on rolled papyrus. Everything appears perfectly secure, but history rarely remains peaceful forever. Sometimes war approached with little warning. Sometimes political unrest spread rapidly through entire regions. Sometimes rumors alone convinced families to hide their most valuable possessions until safer days returned. A trusted servant digs a deep hole beneath the kitchen floor. A clay jar filled with silver coins is carefully lowered inside. The earth is replaced. The family promises to return for it when danger has passed. But what if they never return? Perhaps illness strikes unexpectedly. Perhaps the family flees to another province. Perhaps invading armies arrive sooner than expected. The hidden treasure remains exactly where it was buried. Years become decades. Decades become centuries. The house slowly collapses. Trees grow where rooms once stood. Eventually, no one remembers that anything was ever hidden there.
This happens more often than many people realize. Modern archaeologists occasionally discover coin hoards buried beneath fields, gardens, and ancient buildings. Some contain only a few dozen coins, others contain thousands. Each discovery tells a quiet story, not merely of wealth, but of uncertainty. Someone believed tomorrow was dangerous enough to hide everything they owned. Perhaps the greatest Roman treasure mystery concerns the enormous wealth carried through the empire during periods of political instability. When emperors changed, when civil wars erupted, when distant provinces rebelled, treasuries sometimes moved from one city to another under heavy military guard. Most completed their journeys safely, yet historical records occasionally mention shipments that simply disappear from reliable documentation. Did they reach their destination? Were they stolen, destroyed, secretly redirected? Historians continue debating these questions. One especially intriguing mystery involves sacred treasures taken from conquered cities. The Romans displayed many valuable objects during magnificent triumphal parades celebrating military victories. Ancient writers carefully described glittering gold, finely crafted silver, jeweled ornaments, and religious artifacts unlike anything seen before. Some of these treasures later vanished from historical records. Their final resting places remain unknown. Were they melted down to produce coins? Stored inside forgotten imperial vaults? Lost during later invasions? No surviving document provides complete answers. Treasure hunters have searched for centuries. Most return home empty-handed. Yet archaeology occasionally offers wonderful surprises. A farmer plowing an ordinary field discovers a small bronze coin. Careful excavation begins. Soon another coin appears, then dozens more. Eventually, an entire buried hoard emerges from the earth, untouched since the final years of the Roman Empire. Moments like these remind us that history still sleeps beneath our feet, patiently, silently, waiting. But perhaps the greatest treasure left behind by ancient Rome is not gold at all. It is knowledge. Every newly discovered coin helps historians understand trade. Every hidden collection reveals moments of fear, hope, or uncertainty. Every buried object quietly preserves a human story that would otherwise have disappeared forever. The true value lies not in the metal itself, but in the lives connected to it. As the afternoon sun slowly begins its journey toward the western sky, our peaceful walk continues through gentle olive groves surrounding the old villa. A light breeze stirs the leaves overhead. Somewhere nearby, a shepherd guides his flock across rolling hills, exactly as generations before him once did. Beneath these quiet fields, perhaps another forgotten treasure still rests undisturbed, not waiting for riches, but waiting to tell another chapter of history. And perhaps that chapter will one day answer questions no historian has yet been able to solve. Or perhaps it will simply create new mysteries. History has a wonderful habit of doing exactly that. Take another slow, comfortable breath. Imagine the warm Mediterranean sun, the peaceful countryside, and the countless hidden stories resting quietly beneath the ancient soil. In our next chapter, we will leave hidden treasures behind and visit one of Rome's most mysterious places of wisdom, a temple where strange prophecies, sacred writings, and the legendary Sibylline Books puzzled rulers for centuries, leaving behind questions that remain unanswered even today. The warm afternoon sunlight slowly fades across the Roman countryside. Long shadows stretch gently over quiet olive groves, while the distant hills glow with soft shades of gold and amber. Birds settle into ancient cypress trees, and a cool evening breeze begins to replace the heat of the day. Our peaceful journey now carries us back toward the heart of Rome. Not to the busy Forum, not to the magnificent Colosseum, but to a place surrounded by quiet respect and centuries of unanswered questions. A place connected to one of the greatest mysteries of the Roman world, the legendary Sibylline Books. Unlike many treasures made of gold or silver, these books were believed to possess something even more valuable: knowledge, or perhaps guidance. According to ancient tradition, a mysterious elderly woman arrived in Rome carrying 9 remarkable books. She offered to sell them to the king for an enormous price. The king believed the price was unreasonable and politely refused. Without showing anger, the woman quietly burned 3 of the books before offering the remaining 6 for exactly the same price. Again, the king declined. Once more, she calmly placed 3 more books into the fire. Only 3 remained, yet the price never changed. At last, realizing something extraordinary might be happening, the king purchased the final 3 books for the full original amount. Then, according to the story, the mysterious woman disappeared. Whether every detail truly happened exactly this way remains impossible to prove. Ancient historians themselves sometimes question parts of the story. But one fact appears repeatedly throughout Roman history. The Sibylline Books became among the most carefully protected writings in the entire Republic and later the Empire. Very few people were ever allowed to read them. Instead, specially appointed priests guarded them with remarkable care. The books were not consulted every day. They remained sealed away for years at a time. Only during moments of great uncertainty would Roman leaders order the guardians to examine their mysterious pages. Imagine entering the sacred temple where the books were believed to be kept. The evening air is perfectly still. Tall marble columns rise high above your head. Oil lamps cast warm circles of light across polished stone floors. Every footstep echoes gently through the quiet sanctuary. The atmosphere feels calm, respectful, almost timeless. Somewhere inside this peaceful building rests a collection of writings that only a handful of people have ever seen. Even emperors could not simply walk inside and read them whenever they wished. Strict traditions surrounded every consultation. That secrecy naturally encouraged curiosity. What exactly did the books contain? Were they detailed predictions, religious guidance, collections of ancient rituals, or something entirely different? The frustrating truth is that no complete copy survives today. Centuries later, the original books were reportedly destroyed in a devastating fire. Attempts were made to gather replacement writings from different parts of the Roman world, but historians believe the originals were lost forever. Imagine how remarkable that loss truly is. One of the most important collections of sacred writings in Roman history, gone. Not hidden inside a secret chamber, not buried beneath forgotten ruins, simply lost to time. All that remains are scattered references written by ancient authors, small pieces of a much larger puzzle. One writer describes the books being consulted during a terrible famine. Another mentions them during unusual natural disasters. Elsewhere, they appear during moments of political uncertainty or military crisis. Yet none of these authors copied the complete contents. Perhaps they were forbidden to do so. Perhaps they wished to protect their sacred nature. Or perhaps they assumed future generations would always have access to the originals. History often reminds us how easily knowledge can disappear. A single fire, a flood, an earthquake, or simply the passing of centuries. Entire libraries have vanished, maps have disappeared, letters have crumbled into dust. The Sibylline Books became one more quiet casualty of time. Modern historians continue studying every surviving reference, each ancient quotation, each passing remark, each inscription. They compared different authors, searching patiently for clues about what these mysterious books may have contained. Sometimes, a tiny detail discovered in one forgotten manuscript changes how scholars understand the entire story. Other times, the evidence only deepens the mystery. Perhaps that uncertainty explains why the legend has survived for over 2,000 years. People are naturally drawn toward lost knowledge, toward books no one can read, toward questions that history refuses to answer completely. As darkness settles over Rome once more, the temple grows silent. The priests finish their evening duties. Oil lamps burn softly before sacred statues. Outside, citizens continue walking home beneath the stars, unaware that inside these peaceful walls rests one of the empire's greatest mysteries. Or perhaps, by this point in history, only memories remain. The shelves stand empty. The sacred scrolls are gone. The silence itself has become the final guardian of their secret. There is something strangely comforting about that image. Not every unanswered question needs an ending. Sometimes a mystery quietly becomes part of history itself. Take another slow breath. Imagine standing beneath the towering columns of the ancient temple as cool night air gently moves through the courtyard. The stars shine above Rome exactly as they did thousands of years ago. The books have vanished. The temple has changed. Empires have risen and fallen. Yet curiosity remains. And perhaps it always will. In our next chapter, we will explore another fascinating mystery hidden within ancient Rome. The strange symbols, mysterious carvings, and forgotten messages left behind on walls, monuments, and stone tablets, many of which historians are still trying to understand today.
The ancient temple now rests peacefully behind us. Its marble columns slowly disappear into the soft darkness, while the quiet glow of oil lamps fades with every gentle step we take. Above us, the Roman sky is filled with countless stars, just as it was 2,000 years ago. The city has become wonderfully calm. Most homes have closed their heavy wooden shutters. The evening meal has long since ended. Only an occasional cat wanders through the narrow streets, and somewhere in the distance, a fountain continues its endless conversation with the night. Tonight, our attention turns to something much smaller than lost treasure, yet perhaps even more mysterious. Simple marks carved into stone. At first glance, they appear ordinary. A few letters scratched into a wall, a symbol beside an old doorway, a small drawing hidden beneath the arch of a bridge. Many visitors might walk past them without a second glance, but archaeologists have learned that these tiny details often tell extraordinary stories. Ancient Rome was a city covered with writing. Official inscriptions celebrated emperors. Merchants painted advertisements on building walls. Craftsmen marked their workshops. Travelers carved their names into stone. Children sometimes practiced writing the alphabet on plaster walls. Ordinary people, much like people today, enjoyed leaving small reminders that they had once been there. One of the most famous places for these discoveries is the ancient city of Pompeii. Although Pompeii was preserved beneath volcanic ash rather than beneath the streets of Rome itself, it offers historians a remarkable glimpse into everyday Roman life. Thousands of inscriptions survived. Some are humorous, some are practical, some are surprisingly thoughtful. A few remain deeply puzzling. Imagine walking down a quiet Roman street just before sunset. The buildings stand close together, their walls painted in warm shades of red, yellow, and white. As your fingers gently brush against the stone, you notice faint letters carved into the surface. Who made them? A passing soldier, a merchant waiting for customers, a young student practicing handwriting, or someone simply wishing to leave behind a tiny piece of themselves. History rarely tells us who. One particularly fascinating mystery involved strange symbols that appear repeatedly across different parts of the Roman world. Certain geometric designs, unusual combinations of letters, small carvings whose meaning remains uncertain. Some historians believe they marked construction work. Others suggest they carried religious significance. A few may have served as personal signatures known only to those who created them. Without written explanations, certainty remains impossible. Perhaps the most famous mysterious inscription connected to Roman history is the remarkable square formed by 5 Latin words, known today as the Sator Square. It has been discovered in several ancient locations across the former Roman Empire. The words can be read in multiple directions, creating an elegant pattern that continues to puzzle scholars. Was it a religious symbol, a clever word puzzle, a protective charm, or simply an entertaining game created by someone with a love of language? After centuries of study, no single explanation has convinced everyone, and perhaps that uncertainty is part of its quiet beauty. Roman stonecutters also left behind mysterious marks while constructing temples, bridges, and public buildings. Some appear to be simple numbers. Others resemble tiny geometric symbols. Modern researchers often believe these helped organize enormous building projects. Yet not every mark fits this explanation. Some appear in unexpected places where no practical purpose seems obvious. Again, history offers possibilities rather than certainty. Imagine standing inside a half-finished Roman temple. Massive blocks of marble surround you. Stonecutters carefully shape each column using simple tools and remarkable skill. Before placing a finished block into position, one craftsman quietly carves a small symbol into its hidden side. Perhaps it identifies his work. Perhaps it belongs to his workshop. Perhaps it carries a personal meaning that only he understands. Once the building is completed, the mark disappears forever behind another wall. Only centuries later, during careful restoration, does anyone discover it again. A tiny message, waiting nearly 2,000 years to be seen. There is something wonderfully human about these discoveries. Grand monuments often celebrate emperors, but small carvings remind us of ordinary people. The mason, proud of his craftsmanship, the traveler recording a long journey, the child learning to write, the merchant counting successful business. These quiet voices survive where larger stories have sometimes disappeared. Archaeologists often say that every inscription begins with excitement and ends with questions. Even when the words are perfectly preserved, understanding their full meaning is not always easy. Languages evolve, expressions change, cultural traditions fade. A phrase that seemed obvious to a Roman citizen may feel mysterious to us today. Yet, perhaps that distance across time makes these discoveries even more meaningful. They remind us that people have always wanted to leave something behind. A name, a message, a memory. Proof that they once stood in a particular place beneath a particular sky. As midnight approaches, Rome becomes quieter than ever. Moonlight reflects softly across marble temples. Gentle shadows stretch through empty courtyards. The mysterious carvings remain exactly where they have rested for centuries, patiently waiting for the next curious visitor to notice them. Some may eventually be understood. Others may forever keep their silent secrets. And that's perfectly all right. History does not lose its beauty simply because every question lacks an answer. Sometimes the unanswered questions are what make the journey worthwhile. Take another slow, peaceful breath. Imagine your hand resting lightly upon an ancient stone wall, feeling the faint marks left by someone who lived 2,000 years before you. Their voice is gone. Their world has vanished. Yet one small carving still quietly whispers across the centuries. In our next chapter, we will visit one of ancient Rome's most extraordinary landmarks after sunset, the Colosseum.
and explore the quiet mysteries that remained long after the cheering crowds had gone home and the arena had fallen into silence.
The ancient inscriptions slowly disappear into the darkness behind us. The quiet street grows wider as we continue our gentle evening walk, and before long, a familiar silhouette begins to emerge beneath the silver glow of the moon. Massive stone arches, towering outer walls, rows upon rows of silent windows. The Colosseum. During daylight, this remarkable amphitheater once echoed with the voices of tens of thousands of spectators. Merchants sold food near its entrances, musicians entertained waiting crowds. Children pointed excitedly toward the enormous structure rising above the surrounding streets. Senators arrived wearing elegant white togas. Ordinary citizens hurried through the gates, eager to find the best possible seat. For a few busy hours, the building became one of the loudest places in the Roman world. But tonight, the crowds have gone home. The gates stand closed. Only the gentle breeze moves quietly through the empty arches. There is something strangely peaceful about the Colosseum after dark. Without the excitement of the audience, the building almost seems to become what it truly is, an extraordinary work of engineering, a masterpiece of Roman architecture, and perhaps a place that still keeps many secrets. Imagine yourself standing before the great entrance. A small bronze lantern casts a warm circle of light across the ancient stone beneath your feet. Above you, the moon slowly rises higher into the sky. Its pale light reveals weathered walls that have watched nearly 2,000 years pass in silence. Generations have come and gone. Empires have risen and fallen. Yet the Colosseum remains, patiently, quietly, watching history unfold. Modern visitors often focus on the arena itself, but beneath the wooden floor where performances once took place lay an astonishing underground world. Known today as the Hypogeum, it was a carefully designed network of corridors, storage rooms, staircases, and mechanical lifting systems. Workers moved through these passages with remarkable precision. Elevators powered by ropes and wooden winches could raise scenery and equipment from below the arena floor. Hidden doors appeared almost magically before the audience. To Roman spectators, the entire performance must have seemed almost impossible, a stage unlike any they had ever seen. Yet, even after years of archaeological study, historians continue debating exactly how certain parts of these complex systems operated. Some wooden machinery disappeared long ago. Only stone foundations remain. Tiny holes cut into ancient walls suggest where beams were once placed. Iron fittings hint at forgotten mechanisms. Each discovery answers one question while creating another. Imagine yourself entering one of these underground corridors after the day's events have ended. The arena above has fallen completely silent. Your footsteps echo softly against cool stone walls. Oil lamps flicker gently along narrow passageways. Wooden doors stand closed. Heavy ropes hang quietly from enormous lifting devices. Everything feels still, not frightening, simply abandoned for the night. A few workers carefully inspect the machinery before leaving. They speak quietly to one another. One checks a wooden platform, another coils thick ropes with practiced hands. Before sunrise, everything must be ready once again. Then they depart. The silence returns. One fascinating mystery concerns the enormous logistical organization required to operate such a building. Historical records describe impressive spectacles, yet they rarely explain every practical detail. How many workers maintained the machinery? How were schedules organized? How were complicated performances coordinated so smoothly? Some answers survive, many do not. The building itself quietly keeps those secrets.
Archaeologists also continue discovering small details carved into the stone seating areas. Numbers, letters, simple markings. These helped visitors locate their assigned places. Yet not every symbol has been fully understood. Some appear unique. Others seem connected to repairs carried out centuries after the Colosseum first opened. Again, certainty remains just beyond reach. As with so many mysteries of ancient Rome, patience becomes the historian's greatest companion. There is another quiet mystery surrounding the Colosseum, not about battles or performances, but about sound. Modern engineers studying the structure have noticed how remarkably well voices can travel through certain parts of the building. A carefully spoken sentence may carry surprisingly far beneath the great arches. Other areas absorb sound almost completely. Did Roman architects fully understand these acoustic effects? Were they carefully designed? Or were they fortunate results of brilliant construction techniques? No surviving instruction manual tells us. The stones themselves remain the only witnesses. As midnight deepens, moonlight pours gently through the upper arches. Soft shadows stretch across the empty arena floor. Grass now grows where countless spectators once gathered. Small birds rest quietly among the ancient stones. The Colosseum no longer belongs to emperors. It belongs to history, to careful researchers, to curious travelers, and to the quiet questions that continue echoing beneath its timeless arches. Take another slow breath. Imagine the cool night air flowing gently through the silent Colosseum. The lantern beside you burns softly. The ancient stones rest peacefully beneath the moon. No cheering crowds, no hurried footsteps, only stillness, only history, only the quiet whispers of a civilization that continues sharing its mysteries with anyone willing to listen. In our next chapter, we will leave the Colosseum behind and travel beyond the city once more, searching for entire Roman towns that gradually disappeared from memory before being rediscovered centuries later, beneath fields, forests, and layers of forgotten time. The moon still hangs peacefully above the Colosseum as we quietly leave its towering arches behind us. The cool night air carries the gentle scent of cypress trees, while the ancient streets slowly disappear into the darkness behind us. Our footsteps remain unhurried, echoing softly along the old Roman road leading away from the city. Tonight our journey takes us beyond the great walls of Rome, beyond the temples, beyond the crowded marketplaces, beyond the magnificent villas. We are searching for something far more mysterious, entire Roman towns that simply disappeared. History often gives us the impression that cities last forever. Stone buildings appear permanent. Roads seem unchanging. Massive walls look as though they could withstand eternity itself. Yet history quietly teaches another lesson. Even great cities can be forgotten. Across the vast Roman Empire, thousands of towns once flourished. Some became important centers of trade. Others guarded distant frontiers. Many were peaceful farming communities where generations lived ordinary, quiet lives. Families baked bread each morning. Children played beside fountains. Merchants greeted familiar customers. Farmers returned home as the evening sun settled behind distant hills. Life followed comforting routines. Then, slowly, something changed. Sometimes the reason was obvious. A powerful earthquake damaged homes beyond repair. A river changed its course, leaving fields dry and unproductive. Trade routes shifted, and merchants simply stopped arriving. Without commerce, prosperity faded. Families packed their belongings and sought new opportunities elsewhere. The town grew quieter with each passing year.
Doors remained closed. Gardens became overgrown. Eventually, silence replaced conversation. Nature patiently began reclaiming everything. Imagine arriving at such a place many centuries later. The surrounding countryside appears perfectly ordinary. Wildflowers sway gently in the breeze. Birds sing from ancient olive trees. Nothing suggests that an entire community once thrived beneath your feet. Then a farmer's plow strikes something unexpected. Stone. Not an ordinary rock, a carefully cut block of marble. Curious workers begin digging. Soon another wall appears, then part of a mosaic floor, a staircase, fragments of painted pottery. Slowly, a forgotten Roman town begins returning to daylight. One of the most remarkable examples is Pompeii. Although its story is well known today, its rediscovery amazed the world. For centuries, the city rested beneath layers of volcanic ash, preserving houses, shops, temples, and everyday objects with extraordinary detail. Walking through Pompeii today feels less like visiting ruins and more like quietly stepping into a moment frozen in time. Yet Pompeii is only one example. Across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, archaeologists continue uncovering Roman settlements that had almost completely disappeared from memory. Some are mentioned only briefly in ancient documents. Others were entirely unknown until modern excavations revealed their existence. Each discovery begins with simple questions. Who lived here? Why was this place abandoned? What happened to its people? Sometimes history answers clearly. Other times only silence remains. One fascinating mystery involves towns that gradually emptied rather than disappearing suddenly. No great disaster, no dramatic battle, simply a slow departure. One family moved away, then another. Young people sought opportunities elsewhere. Old houses were left empty. Roofs collapsed. Rain entered forgotten rooms. Plants grew through cracked floors. Within a few generations, the town had become part of the landscape itself. Travelers passing by might never realize they were walking beside an ancient community. There is something deeply peaceful about these forgotten places. Imagine strolling along a Roman street where no footsteps have echoed for nearly 2,000 years. The morning sunlight warms worn stone walls. Tiny flowers bloom between ancient paving stones. A gentle breeze moves through broken windows that once overlooked busy neighborhoods. Everything feels calm, not abandoned in sadness, simply resting, waiting patiently for someone to remember. Archaeologists often describe the excitement of uncovering everyday objects. A cooking pot still resting near an old fireplace. A child's toy carved from wood or bone. A bronze key that once locked an ordinary family door. These discoveries remind us that history belongs not only to emperors and generals, it also belongs to bakers, teachers, craftsmen, parents, children, people whose names have long been forgotten, but whose lives quietly shaped the Roman world. Perhaps the greatest mystery is not why some towns disappeared. Perhaps it is how completely they were forgotten. Entire communities vanished from maps. Their names faded from memory. Their streets disappeared beneath forests, fields, vineyards, and gentle hills. Only the earth remembered where they had once stood. And the earth, unlike people, is remarkably patient. It keeps its stories carefully hidden until the right moment arrives. As the first light of dawn begins touching the distant horizon, birds awaken across the countryside. Mist rises softly above quiet meadows. The forgotten town around us seems almost ready to wake up once more. Not with voices, not with busy markets, but through careful archaeological discovery.
each newly uncovered stone allows another chapter of history to breathe again. Take another slow, comfortable breath. Imagine standing quietly in the center of this peaceful Roman town, listening only to birdsong and the gentle wind moving through ancient ruins. Around you, every fallen column, every weathered doorway, and every mosaic floor hold memories waiting to be understood. In our next chapter, we will follow another fascinating mystery into the world of hidden political conspiracies, secret meetings, and whispered conversations that shaped the future of ancient Rome, events where truth and rumor remain difficult to separate even after 2,000 years.
The first light of dawn slowly spreads across the forgotten Roman town. A gentle golden glow settles upon broken columns, weathered stone walls, and quiet streets that have not heard the sound of everyday life for nearly 2,000 years. Small birds greet the morning from the tops of ancient olive trees, while a cool breeze carries the fresh scent of wild herbs growing between old paving stones. For a few peaceful moments, everything feels perfectly still. Then, as the sun climbs higher, we continue our journey. This time, we return once more to the heart of ancient Rome, but instead of visiting its temples or marketplaces, we quietly step into a world few ordinary citizens ever witnessed. A world of whispered conversations, private meetings, sealed letters, and political secrets. Ancient Rome was not only one of history's greatest empires, it was also one of its most complicated political worlds. Every important decision affected millions of people spread across vast lands. Governors waited for instructions. Military commanders watched the frontiers. Merchants depended on stable laws. Ordinary families simply hoped tomorrow would be peaceful. Behind these enormous responsibilities stood countless discussions that history rarely recorded in full. Imagine entering a senator's elegant home shortly after sunset. The busy streets outside have grown quieter. Servants gently close heavy wooden doors. Oil lamps cast warm pools of light across polished marble floors. A small group of respected men gathers around a large wooden table. Fresh bread, olives, cheese, a pitcher of watered wine. At first glance, the evening appears completely ordinary. Friends sharing a meal. Neighbors enjoying conversation. Yet, within these quiet gatherings, important ideas are often exchanged. Future alliances begin with simple introductions. Political disagreements remain hidden beneath polite smiles. Carefully chosen words replace emotional speeches. No one wishes to reveal too much. No one wishes to reveal too little. History remembers many famous conspiracies. The assassination of Julius Caesar is perhaps the best known. Yet even that remarkable event remains surrounded by unanswered questions. Ancient writers describe dramatic meetings, private warnings, mysterious dreams, and whispered conversations, but they do not always agree. Some accounts were written decades later. Others relied on stories passed from one generation to another. Separating historical fact from dramatic storytelling remains one of the greatest challenges faced by modern historians. What truly happened inside those private rooms? Which conversations were accurately remembered? Which details slowly changed with every retelling? No one can say with complete confidence. Imagine yourself walking quietly through the Roman Forum late in the evening. The crowds have disappeared. The great government building stands silent beneath the stars. A lone messenger crosses the square carrying a sealed scroll. Its contents remain known only to its sender and its intended recipient. Perhaps the message contains ordinary business. Perhaps it carries news from a distant province. Or perhaps it contains information capable of changing the future of the empire. History leaves us wondering. Letters played an enormous role in Roman politics. Thousands were written. Many have vanished forever. Papyrus was never meant to survive for centuries. Many documents simply decayed with time.
Others were destroyed by fire, flood, or war. What remarkable conversations disappeared with them? What decisions were carefully explained in letters that no longer exist? Sometimes historians discover only half of a correspondence. One reply survives, the original question has been lost. Reading such a document feels like overhearing only one side of an ancient conversation. The missing half continues to whisper beyond history's reach. There were also rumors. Every great city has them. Rome was no exception. News traveled surprisingly quickly through crowded markets, public baths, military camps, and neighborhood streets. A merchant arriving from Egypt might carry stories from Alexandria. A soldier returning from Britain brought news of the northern frontier. A traveler from Greece shared events unfolding across the eastern provinces. By the time these stories reached the center of Rome, they had often changed. Details grew larger. Certainty faded. Speculation quietly replaced fact. Modern historians recognize this familiar pattern. Ancient rumor behaved very much like modern rumor. It spread rapidly, it changed constantly, and it rarely left clear evidence behind. One fascinating mystery involves the many secret meetings occasionally mentioned by Roman writers. We read brief references to private discussions held in gardens, villas, temples, or countryside estates, yet few detailed records survive. Who attended? What decisions were made? Which promises were honored? Which were quietly forgotten? The answers often disappeared alongside the people who knew them. Perhaps that is why archaeology remains so important. While written history sometimes reflects opinion, physical evidence remains wonderfully honest. A coin, a seal, a broken tablet, an inscription hidden beneath a collapsed building. Each discovery quietly adds another sentence to Rome's unfinished story. As afternoon slowly gives way to evening once again, shadows lengthen across the forum. The senators return home. The couriers complete their journeys. The marketplace grows peaceful. Above the rooftops, swallows circle gracefully through the warm evening sky. The city continues its ordinary rhythm. Meanwhile, countless political conversations have already faded into silence. Only their consequences remain visible in history. Take another slow breath. Imagine yourself sitting quietly beneath a marble portico, listening to the distant sounds of Rome settling into another peaceful night. The whispers have faded. The letters have been sealed. The decisions have been made. Yet many of their true stories remain hidden, waiting patiently beneath the gentle dust of time. In our next chapter, we will explore another enduring mystery, how archaeologists continue uncovering astonishing Roman artifacts whose purpose remains uncertain, reminding us that even the smallest object can preserve one of history's greatest unanswered questions. Evening settles gently over ancient Rome once again. The final rays of sunlight disappear behind the distant hills, leaving the great city wrapped in soft shades of blue and gold. Oil lamps begin glowing in windows across quiet neighborhoods, while the sound of sandals on stone streets grows less frequent with every passing moment. Our peaceful walk continues. Tonight, we are not searching for emperors, or hidden treasure, or forgotten cities. Instead, we are looking for something much smaller, a single object, something that could easily fit into the palm of your hand. History has a remarkable way of hiding enormous stories inside ordinary things. A cracked clay bowl, a bronze key, a broken piece of glass, a child's marble. To most people, these might seem like insignificant discoveries, but to an archaeologist, they can become extraordinary clues. Imagine yourself standing beside a quiet archaeological excavation just outside the ancient city. The day has been warm, but now the evening air feels cool and refreshing. Workers have carefully brushed away layer after layer of soil, using only small tools and remarkable patience. No hurried digging, no dramatic explosions, only quiet precision, one careful movement at a time. Suddenly, the edge of something appears beneath the earth. Not gold, not silver, just a small bronze object. Its surface is covered with nearly 2,000 years of dust and corrosion. No one immediately knows what it is. The discovery is carefully photographed. Its exact location is recorded. Then, with gentle hands, it is lifted from the soil for the first time since the Roman Empire still ruled much of the known world. Back in the laboratory, experts begin examining it. Some believe it may have been part of a household tool. Others suggest it belonged to a religious ceremony. A few think it may have served an entirely different purpose. No written description survives. No illustration explains its function. The object quietly keeps its secret. This happens more often than many people realize. Museums around the world contain Roman artifacts whose exact purpose remains uncertain. Historians can often estimate their age, identify the metal, determine where they were discovered. But answering the simplest question, what exactly was this used for, is sometimes impossible. One particularly fascinating mystery involves beautifully crafted bronze objects decorated with tiny rings, carefully carved patterns, and delicate openings. Several examples have been discovered across the former Roman Empire. Their craftsmanship is remarkable. Their purpose remains debated. Some researchers believe they were ceremonial. Others suggest they may have been scientific instruments. Still others think they served entirely practical everyday functions. The evidence supports several possibilities, but none completely. And so, the mystery remains. Glass objects create similar puzzles. Roman glassmakers became astonishingly skilled. They produced elegant bottles, colorful cups, delicate perfume containers, and decorative ornaments that continue to amaze modern visitors. Occasionally, archaeologists uncover beautifully shaped glass vessels unlike anything previously discovered. Were they made for wealthy families, used in religious rituals, created simply as artistic experiments? No one can say with complete certainty. Even ancient keys leave historians asking questions. Some are large and beautifully decorated. Others are tiny enough to fit comfortably on a finger. Were they designed for personal jewelry boxes, secret compartments, travel chests, private document cases? Each possibility seems reasonable, yet every answer remains incomplete. Perhaps the greatest lesson archaeology teaches is patience. Modern researchers rarely rush toward dramatic conclusions. Instead, they compare discoveries from hundreds of different sites. They examine microscopic traces of wear. They analyze metals, study ancient writings, reconstruct broken pieces. Sometimes years of careful work produce a satisfying explanation. Other times, the object quietly refuses to reveal its story. Imagine entering a museum after closing time. The visitors have all gone home. The galleries rest in complete silence. Rows of glass display cases reflect the soft glow of security lights. Inside them lie countless Roman artifacts resting peacefully behind glass, waiting for tomorrow's visitors. Some will immediately reveal their stories. Others will continue keeping their silent mysteries for generations yet to come. Perhaps somewhere in a future excavation, another tiny discovery will finally explain one of these puzzles. Or perhaps the unanswered questions are themselves part of history's greatest treasure. Take another slow breath. Imagine holding one of these mysterious Roman objects in your hands. Its surface feels smooth from centuries of careful use. Someone once relied upon it every day. Someone understood its purpose completely. Now only silence remains. And within that silence lives one more beautiful mystery of ancient Rome. In our next chapter, we will step away from individual artifacts and explore the remarkable mysteries that still lie hidden beneath the streets of modern Rome, where every new construction project has the potential to uncover another forgotten chapter of the ancient world. The museum has grown completely silent. The final visitor left many hours ago, and the heavy wooden doors have been locked for the night. Soft lights continue to illuminate rows of ancient Roman artifacts, casting long shadows across polished stone floors. Outside, modern Rome sleeps. Cars have become fewer. The cafes have grown quieter. The streets, so full of life during the day, now rest beneath a peaceful blanket of moonlight. Yet beneath those modern streets, another city still waits. One of the most extraordinary facts about Rome is that the ancient city never truly disappeared. Instead, it slowly sank beneath centuries of history. Generation after generation built new homes, churches, roads, and public buildings upon the remains of older ones. What we see today is only the newest layer. Far below, another Rome quietly survives. Imagine standing in the center of the modern city, just after midnight. The streets appear calm. A cool breeze moves through narrow alleyways. The sound of distant church bells echoes gently through the night. Nothing seems unusual. But beneath your feet, perhaps only a few meters below the pavement, lie forgotten streets where Roman citizens once hurried to work, shops where merchants sold bread and olive oil, small temples where families quietly offered prayers, courtyards where children laughed beneath the Mediterranean sun. Entire neighborhoods continue resting beneath the city above them. Every time engineers begin a new construction project in Rome, there is always the possibility of making an unexpected discovery. A new subway tunnel, the foundation of a building, the repair of an old sewer. Almost any excavation can reveal another chapter of the ancient world. Sometimes workers expect to find history. Sometimes history surprises everyone. A machine carefully removes layers of earth. Suddenly, its operator notices something unusual. Large stone blocks, perfectly straight, clearly shaped by human hands. Construction immediately stops. Archaeologists arrive carrying notebooks, cameras, measuring tools, and soft brushes. The modern project pauses while the ancient city quietly introduces itself once again. This has happened many times. Roman roads have appeared beneath busy intersections. Beautiful mosaic floors have been discovered below apartment buildings. Ancient bathhouses have emerged beneath ordinary neighborhoods. Each discovery reminds us that Rome is not simply one city, it is countless cities resting together across time. Some discoveries answer long-standing questions. Others create entirely new mysteries. Imagine uncovering the corner of a forgotten building. Its walls remain remarkably well preserved. Colorful painted decorations still cling to the plaster. The floor contains intricate geometric mosaics unlike any previously discovered nearby. Everything suggests the building was important, yet no historical record mentions it. Who owned this place? Why was it built? Why was it abandoned? Again, history smiles quietly without offering complete answers. One fascinating challenge faced by archaeologists is deciding what to excavate. The ancient city extends beneath large portions of modern Rome. Excavating everything would require removing neighborhoods where people live today. So researchers must choose carefully. Some mysteries may remain hidden simply because reaching them would disturb the modern city above. There is something strangely beautiful about this relationship. The ancient and modern worlds exist together. People drink coffee above Roman temples. Children walk to school over forgotten roads. Families enjoy peaceful evenings while ancient foundations quietly support the ground beneath them. History never truly left. It simply became part of everyday life. Technology has helped researchers explore some of these hidden places without disturbing them. Ground-penetrating radar, laser scanning, three-dimensional mapping. These remarkable tools allow archaeologists to glimpse structures still buried beneath the earth. Sometimes they reveal entire buildings, hidden courtyards, long-forgotten streets. Even with these impressive technologies, many questions remain. Images cannot always explain purpose. A wall may appear clearly, but why was it built? Who lived there? How was the space used? The Earth still guards many of those answers. Perhaps the greatest mystery beneath modern Rome is simply how much remains undiscovered. Every generation believes it understands the ancient city a little better. Then another excavation reveals something unexpected: a forgotten shrine, an unknown workshop, a beautifully preserved home, or a small object that changes historians' understanding of an entire neighborhood. History is wonderfully patient. It reveals its stories one careful discovery at a time. As the night grows deeper, the streets above become almost completely silent. The lights of modern apartments shine softly through nearby windows. Far below, untouched Roman streets remain exactly as they have rested for centuries. No footsteps, no voices, only stillness. Waiting. Perhaps centuries from now, future archaeologists will continue uncovering these hidden places. Perhaps some mysteries will finally receive their answers. And perhaps many will remain forever beneath the city, content to sleep peacefully beneath the lives unfolding above them. Take another slow, comfortable breath. Imagine standing between two worlds, modern Rome above, ancient Rome below, separated not only by layers of earth, but also by 2,000 years of human history. Yet somehow, both cities continue sharing the same quiet night. In our next chapter, we will explore the final great puzzles that continue challenging historians today, those remarkable mysteries that, even after centuries of research, remain unanswered, reminding us that ancient Rome still has many stories left to tell. The quiet streets of modern Rome slowly fade behind us. Above, the stars continue their patient journey across the night sky, just as they did for countless generations before us. Below, hidden beneath layers of stone and earth, the ancient city rests peacefully, keeping its oldest secrets safely tucked away beneath the footsteps of millions. Tonight, we arrive at the final collection of mysteries. Not one particular building, not one emperor, not one forgotten treasure, but the questions that historians continue asking even after centuries of careful study. Ancient Rome is often described as one of the best documented civilizations in history. Thousands of inscriptions survive. Ancient writers left behind books, letters, official records, and poems. Archaeologists have uncovered roads, temples, villas, military camps, marketplaces, theaters, and entire neighborhoods. Yet, despite all of this remarkable evidence, there are still countless things we simply do not know. Perhaps that is history's greatest lesson. Knowledge is never complete. Imagine sitting quietly inside a peaceful Roman library just before closing time. Tall wooden shelves hold hundreds of carefully rolled scrolls. The scent of papyrus fills the warm evening air. A librarian gently ties a ribbon on the final manuscript before placing it back upon its shelf. Outside, the city settles into another quiet night. Inside, generations of knowledge wait patiently for curious readers. But not every scroll survived. Many disappeared through fire, flood, war, simple neglect. Entire books known only by name have vanished forever. Historians occasionally discover ancient authors referring to works that no longer exist. A philosopher quotes another writer whose complete book has been lost. A senator mentions an official report that disappeared centuries ago. A historian summarizes documents we can no longer read ourselves. These missing voices create silent gaps throughout Roman history. What stories did they tell? What details did they preserve? We may never know. Another enduring mystery concerns ordinary people. History remembers emperors, generals, and famous politicians remarkably well. But what about the baker rising before dawn every morning? The teacher patiently helping children learn their first letters? The sailor crossing the Mediterranean with cargo ships full of grain? The young artist painting colorful walls inside a family home? Millions of Romans lived peaceful, ordinary lives. Most left behind almost no written record. Yet archaeology quietly restores small pieces of their world. A cooking pot still resting near an ancient fireplace. A child's sandal. A woven basket. A simple wooden comb. These humble discoveries remind us that every great civilization was built not only by rulers, but also by ordinary families living ordinary days. Sometimes the smallest object tells the largest story. There are mysteries hidden even within familiar monuments. The Pantheon continues astonishing engineers with its enormous concrete dome. Researchers still study the remarkable techniques Roman builders used to create structures of such lasting strength. Although much has been learned, experts continue discovering new details about Roman engineering. How did builders organize such enormous projects? Which techniques were carefully guarded as professional secrets? How much practical knowledge disappeared after the empire gradually declined? History offers clues, not complete instruction manuals. Perhaps that is why Roman architecture continues inspiring modern engineers. There is always something more to understand. Even the Roman calendar quietly reflects forgotten history. Festivals celebrated by ordinary citizens, local traditions practiced in distant provinces, seasonal customs passed from parents to children. Many disappeared without detailed explanation. Others survive only through scattered references in ancient writings. Each missing tradition reminds us that culture is delicate. It can quietly fade if no one preserves it. As we reflect on all these mysteries together, a comforting pattern begins to appear. History is not simply a collection of answers, it is also a collection of thoughtful questions. Every excavation begins with curiosity. Every inscription invites interpretation. Every discovery encourages another careful conversation between the present and the past. Perhaps that is why ancient Rome continues fascinating people across the world. Not because every mystery has been solved, but because so many remain open. The ancient city still rewards patience, still welcomes careful observation, still surprises even the world's leading historians. There is something deeply peaceful about accepting that some questions may remain unanswered. The Romans themselves probably believed they understood their world completely. Yet today we continue discovering new aspects of their lives. Future generations will almost certainly uncover even more. History never truly ends. It quietly continues unfolding, one careful discovery at a time. As midnight slowly approaches once again, the city grows beautifully silent. Moonlight reflects across ancient marble. A gentle breeze moves through weathered columns. Somewhere nearby, a fountain continues its soft, endless song. Nothing rushes, nothing demands immediate answers. Only quiet curiosity remains. Take another slow, relaxing breath. Allow yourself to appreciate the simple wonder of a civilization that still speaks across 2,000 years, not through loud voices, but through broken pottery, forgotten roads, ancient books, hidden rooms, weathered stones, and beautiful mysteries that patiently wait for anyone willing to listen. In our final chapter, we will bring our peaceful journey through ancient Rome to a gentle close, reflecting on why these unsolved mysteries continue inspiring curiosity, comfort, and quiet imagination even after so many centuries have passed. Our long and peaceful journey through ancient Rome is slowly coming to an end. For hours, we have wandered together through quiet streets lit by gentle oil lamps, explored forgotten tunnels hidden beneath the city, stood inside silent temples, admired magnificent monuments beneath the moon, and listened to the whispers of mysteries that have survived for more than 2,000 years. Along the way, we searched for answers. Sometimes we found them. More often, we discovered that history prefers quiet questions to certain conclusions. Perhaps that is exactly why ancient Rome continues to capture the imagination of people all around the world. Not because every mystery has been solved, but because so many remain patiently waiting. Imagine that the night has almost passed. The stars are beginning to fade, one by one, as the eastern horizon slowly brightens with the first gentle light of dawn. Rome is still asleep. The streets remain empty. The great forum stands in complete silence. The marble temples glow softly beneath the pale morning sky. A light breeze carries the scent of fresh earth and olive trees through the quiet city. For one final time, let us take a slow walk together. We pass beneath the towering arches of the Colosseum. Its ancient stones, worn smooth by centuries of wind and rain, seem almost peaceful now. No cheering crowds, no busy workers, only birds preparing to greet another sunrise. Nearby, the Roman Forum stretches quietly before us. Broken columns stand like patient guardians of history. Grass grows gently between old paving stones where senators, merchants, philosophers, and ordinary citizens once hurried through their daily lives. They could never have imagined that thousands of years later, people from every corner of the world would still come here searching for the stories they left behind. As we continue walking, we cross a small stone bridge over the calm waters of the Tiber River. The gentle current reflects the soft colors of the early morning sky. The river has watched every chapter of Rome's history. Kings, generals, emperors, merchants, travelers, children, all have stood upon its banks. The river remembers them all without speaking a single word. History often feels like that river, always moving, always flowing forward, never stopping, yet quietly carrying small pieces of every generation into the future. Perhaps somewhere beneath the modern city, another forgotten house still waits to be discovered. Perhaps another inscription lies hidden beneath layers of earth. Perhaps a single coin, a broken lamp, or an old wooden box will one day answer a question that historians have debated for centuries. Or perhaps some mysteries will remain mysteries forever. And maybe that is perfectly enough. There is a quiet comfort in knowing that not every chapter of the past has been fully written. Some stories invite us simply to wonder, to imagine, to appreciate the people who came before us, even when we cannot know everything about their lives. As the first sunlight touches the rooftops of Rome, the city slowly begins to awaken. A baker lights his oven. A shopkeeper opens a wooden shutter. A shepherd leads his flock along a dusty road outside the city walls. Somewhere, a child laughs. Somewhere else, a fountain continues its endless song. Life begins again, just as it has for countless generations. The mysteries remain, but so does hope. Hope that future discoveries will continue teaching us about this remarkable civilization. Hope that curiosity will always guide careful historians and patient archaeologists. And hope that every new generation will continue asking thoughtful questions about the world that came before them. As our journey gently comes to a close, take one final slow breath. Feel the cool morning air. Listen to the quiet birdsong. Imagine the warm golden sunlight slowly spreading across the ancient city, illuminating marble columns, peaceful gardens, and timeless streets that have witnessed the passing of centuries. Thank you for taking this calm walk through the mysteries of ancient Rome. Whether you drifted peacefully toward sleep or simply enjoyed a quiet escape into history, I hope these ancient stories brought you a sense of wonder, curiosity, and calm. And now, as the sun rises over the eternal city, the unanswered questions can remain exactly where they belong, resting quietly among the old stones, waiting patiently for another curious traveler. Until our next peaceful journey through history, sleep well.